What if you could pick up your phone, call somebody on the other side of the world, speak your language, and they would hear yours instantly in their no app, no internet on their end, just conversation? We don't have a translation problem. We have an understanding problem.
And we're seeing this for FIFA. For instance, we had 911 in Nuevo León during the FIFA events, and people were able to call 911 in any language, and they were able to answer immediately.
You've built the Star Trek Communicator. What's the funniest mistranslation that your AI has produced so far? What if you could pick up your phone, call somebody on the other side of the world, speak your language, and they would hear yours instantly in theirs? No app, no internet connection, no internet on their end, just conversation. My guest today says that's not the future. That's right now. Saul is the CEO of OneMeta, a company partnered with Microsoft, NVIDIA, and the US military, using AI to eliminate language barriers in real time across more than 150 languages. But here's what makes Saul different from every other AI CEO you've heard on this podcast. He's not just a technologist. He's an 11-time Emmy award-winning media executive. He grew up in Venezuela, served as a missionary in Portugal, built a TV network that reached millions of households across Latin America, and then scaled a digital media operation to over 4 billion monthly impressions, all before pivoting into artificial intelligence. His thesis is simple but profound. We don't have a translation problem. We have an understanding problem. And he believes AI can finally solve that. Saul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cody. That was a fantastic intro. I'm going to make notes of it. That's really good summary. Thank you.
I can't take all the credit. My AI does a lot of the heavy lifting on this. So before we get anywhere, I have to ask one question of all my guests. What is a truth in your industry that people do not want to admit?
The last mile. A product is not a product until it's fully consumed at scale. And the last mile of implementation is the key. A lot of individuals are building shiny objects, and that's okay. But to really, truly get to the last mile in consumption, it's really hard.
I feel you there, being a software engineer myself and trying to build the shiny object that people want. So I do want to. So I want to get a little bit into your background. Can you explain to the audience who you are?
Sure. I'm a father. I have 4 kids, a husband. I'm a soul traveling in this rocking space and trying to make an impact to those around me.
And what does OneMeta do? How did you come up with this solution?
So in 2021 to 2022, came about with different type of softwares, specifically on the webinar video conferencing space at high impact, meaning Zoom, Teams will only get a couple thousand people. So the focus was how to get a webinar for like 100,000 people, 80,000 people. We had a couple of clients at that level, and we found that anything after 5,000 people really needed language, a language solution. So I started tinkering with the language aspects on speech to text to text translation, and come up with a very interesting solution that was not only part of the artificial intelligence, it was more of an architecture solution in the space, especially in the content delivery networks. Something very similar to Spotify in how you transmit protocols. And as we did that, speed was fantastic. Latency was super low. Just at that time, to do transcription translation was taking about 2 to 3 seconds, and we were able to do it in 1/8 of a second, which is 125 milliseconds. So it was a fantastic speed. Accuracy was through the roof. So that's how it came about. Then we start to explore data sets, security architectures, and that's where we have become really a leader in the industry. But that's how we all started.
How is this changing the game? Because I know of the software right now, like HeyGen, that allows you to modify it after the fact. But how does your software work differently?
Doing anything real time is not only hard, but there's a lot of risk. There's Google Translate. You can do there's hundreds of companies that can do transcription, translation after the fact. But to do it in real time as the words are being pronounced is not only a challenge on the architecture and the engineering aspect, but there's also a huge risk in terms of accuracy.
Hmm.
So that's our focus is solving those two in real time, and that's how we're differentiating for a lot of the companies. There are really five items. There is accuracy, there's latency, there's customization. So, for instance, there are companies like one of our clients, Boston Scientific. They're specific. They have 1,500 words that are very specific to their industry. So there's customization or custom dictionaries and training the models, data sets. And then you have security and integration. Those are the kind of the five standards in order to make it work.
How does this change the game for business in the future?
Cody, today, I will say, how does it change it today? To your earlier point, for businesses specifically, it's an incredible ROI. There, just to give an idea, we have a company that they spend about $2.4 million in interpretation services, and it's a relatively small company. They only are in a region in the northeast of the United States. Um, and English and Spanish is the most spoken language pair for translation over the phone. And then that's my space is over the phone interpretation, as you mentioned at the beginning. The ROI is the immediate impact, especially because on customer service also it gets really expensive. It's about $1 to $2 a minute. But also if you go outside of a common language pair, but let's say you go Vietnamese, Portuguese, all of a sudden it gets really challenging because it will take a day or 2 days to schedule an interpreter
Mhm.
to do that. And then there's transcription. There's no transcription over the phone interpretation. It takes 48 hours to get transcription, and it's an additional cost of $1 to $2 a minute. So an immediate ROI is that companies can pick up the phone and connect with anyone across the world. And we're seeing this for FIFA. For instance, we had 911 in Nuevo León during the FIFA event, and people were able to call 911 in any language, and they were able to answer immediately. So that customer service impact was instantaneous.
I can imagine that, especially for emergency services, this would be a great tool for anybody, especially having multicultural people across every nation now. It's not just in across borders; it's across your country. Um, you also work with the militaries translating for Japanese. How are you keeping that security level? How is your security working towards that? Sorry, I
Yeah,
butchered.
no, that's perfect. That's a good question. There's a couple of concepts. There is zero trust environment, which is accessibility, making sure that you say who you say you are, and the systems are aware of that and can take measures. So that's one aspect of it. There's another aspect, which is um, how data goes to information and how it converts into decision making information. Um, Basically, trusting the AI, the integrity of the AI, the accessibility of the AI, but also the accountability
Mhm.
of the AI is highly important in those scenarios. So one aspect is what we call the multi-tenant architecture. Every client that we have, especially with the government, has its own data sets, its own models, unique to them in their own facility. It could be on private cloud, it could be on-prem. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is more about the integrity of the solution. And it's not about the data, but the insights of the data. So there's something that we call AI amnesia. And that is when you interact with the AI in a stateless environment and you get the output without training the AI. So those are some of the elements in order to get to that level of security.
With so how would a business install this? Like, I'm assuming there's some sort of relay in between their VoIP systems and their actual calling systems. How do you go about installing those?
Um, there are different ways to install it. In reality, we work with CCaaS providers. So think of NiceCX1, RingCentral, Avaya. So we work through them, with them, to install these systems. So it's completely engaged with their voice over IP platform. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that we work on-prem for with certain companies to put these systems as well. So those are the two ways to integrate it.
I noticed that it says here that you also don't think that by us having AI translation, that people will stop learning different languages. Why do you believe that? Most of the guests that come on this show came from the same place. Not cold outreach, not DMs, not begging people to come talk to me. And that's only grown truer as this channel has grown. I've been using Podmatch since I started podcasting. Not a recent partnership, not a one-off sponsor read. This platform has been finding my guests the entire time I've been building the show. And here's what it actually does. You tell it who you are, what your show needs. It matches you with guests that actually fit based on your topic, your audience, and what they bring to the table. No cold pitching. No chasing people who never respond. And the guest always wants to be there. I've talked directly with the CEO about why he built it this way, what he wants it to solve, the whole thing. That's not something you get from most platforms. This one's actually run by somebody who cares whether it works for the people using it. The guests I've gotten through Podmatch didn't just fill an episode. They shaped how I interview, how I think, how this show sounds versus when I started. That's the difference between a booking tool and a platform that actually makes you better at this. If you're podcasting and still doing guest outreach the hard way, stop. Go check out Podmatch. The link is below.
That's a great question. I have two ways to approach the conclusion. One is that the pie increases, meaning the fact that we have cars doesn't mean that we're not going to walk. We're going to achieve our goals faster, but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop walking because there's cars and motorcycles. Mm-hmm. The fact that there are typewriters and we have computers doesn't mean that we're not going to write. We're still going to write. So that's one aspect that I approach that conclusion. The other aspect that I approach that conclusion is there are certain benefits to learn languages. We know that for Alzheimer's, for instance, or dementia, the fact that we're training our neurons by learning new things, learning how to juggle. But if we look at all of the activities and skills that one can learn that have the greatest effect, it's actually learning a language. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of benefits on learning languages and using languages. And going back to the first aspect to reach the conclusion, there's a lot more work because people are realizing how much is needed. It's something that was not available before. I had a lawyer, a friend of mine, that was dealing with a lawyer from Poland to Mexico, and for the first time, he was able to connect in a very fluid communication, and he was very thankful because his colleague from Mexico was not filtering his ideas through a second-grade English skill. He was able to express his level in Spanish, and he was able to be understood at that level. My friend mentioned that he realizes that was probably one of the best phone calls that he ever had with his colleague because they were able to understand each other at the level that they truly are.
What is the problem with current human interpretation?
I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a problem with human interpretation. I think that it's an industry that have excelled over the years, especially after COVID. Now 6 years ago, we're seeing that there's more communication. There's great demand. I think that some of the challenges of the industry itself, not the interpreters, is that cost. Companies are requiring lower costs of interpretation, and inflation across the world has increased, so they have to pay more to interpreters. So there's very little margins. We're talking about 8% to 12% margins. So it's really hard for companies to scale. at that level. So I think that democratizing the idea of interpretation is something that the world needs, and it's companies are needing.
I do have to say, like, I'm appreciative of this technology because I've banged my head against the wall trying to learn a different language, and I'm excited to see where you go because I would love to be able to have conversations with people in different languages, regardless. Do you, you've built the Star Trek communicator? Is that the ultimate goal of OneMeta?
It is. Thank you for mentioning. A lot of people talks about the Star Trek communicator or the Babelfish um, connector. So yes, the goal is simple. The mission of the company is to create a more understanding world, and of course, it starts with transcription. Transcription in languages that are not common. We're very good at it, and we have a strong data sets for it. But of course, translations are another big piece of that. The goal of the company is to reach 1 billion individuals and interactions. That's the goal in any way that we can do that. We started with the phone because we believe that the phone is still today is one of the greatest tools and platforms to converse and to communicate. So we're very niche into that market. We're seeing great success. But the goal is to reach at least 1 billion people.
What's a use case that you haven't cracked yet that keeps you up at night?
We're very close though. I'm starting to sleep more because we're cracking this use case, and the use case is very simple. Right now, the technologies are more consecutive, um, meaning I said a word and then the phrase translated comes right after, and we were able to minimize the latency to again less than half a second. But what it comes down to is can you do it as the words are being spoken? And there's a real challenge there, Cody, because if I say an idiom like "it's raining cats," and
If you're a podcaster or a video creator, this is the all-in-one AI video editor you've been looking for. I've been using Async since day one, and it's amazing to watch it progress into a complete powerhouse for creators. Especially for people like me who, well, can't edit for shit. Async leverages AI to give you total control over your video. You can record, edit, generate clips, add subtitles, and even dub your content in over 15 languages. Plus, it lets you upscale your footage and easily repurpose your content for different platforms, all without ever having to switch between different tools. It's truly a game changer. So if you want to streamline your workflow and make your editing process painless, check out async.com today. The link is in the description below.
dogs. We know that it's what that means. It's raining a lot, but if I'm saying the words and if I'm having a translator, it's really hard to forecast when I'm saying the words "it's raining cat" that I'm already saying it's raining a lot. So when you go again into very small latency, tiny latency, forecasting gets really hard because you don't have a full context of what being said. Especially, you have to work with models that are generative, that they generate, that they're forecasting, versus models that are more deterministic, that it's more of past experience and what's currently happening. So that is a use case that I'm really working on, and we're seeing a lot of promise, to say the least.
I just have a follow-up question on that. Does that come from understanding each individual human as opposed to just a collective?
Correct. I will say that we're not at the level of understanding each individual human, but yeah, that's where the solution will be. We are at the level where we're understanding regional and dialects. So your English United States is different from your English South Africa with the associated idioms, and different from English Ghana, which is different grammar. Which is different from, of course, Spanish Argentinian versus Spanish Cuban, or Spanish Colombian, or Spanish Mexico. So we get at that granular level. Arabic is another big example with many dialects, and your Arabic from Tunisia is very different from your Arabic from Lebanon or Armenia.
What's the funniest mistranslation that your AI has produced so far?
Oh, I should keep a list of those. There are some really funny ones. I'll have to rain check on that one.
No worries.
Uh, but there, I remember several times where we either get a good kick out of it or blush, one of the two. On those translations, we heard a lot of things. No one comes to my mind right now, so I'll rain check on that one. But there are a lot. Oh, I just remember that one. Not necessarily with the system, but I remember one is embarazado. So embarrass. Um, of course, embarrass means we know what I'm embarrassed of something. I'm ashamed of something specific. But embarrass in Spanish, which is a lot of people will say the word embarazado, which means pregnant. So there was this lady. She was a missionary, and she stands up in the pulpit in front of the congregation, and she say, "Hey, I was never told I was going to give a talk to the pulpit today, so I am very pregnant by the bishop." So it was just a very funny situation. Again, nothing to do with the technology itself, but there's a lot of challenges that happen when on mistranslations in different situations.
Look forward to your solution actually fixing a lot of these mistranslations and understanding more intention as opposed to the actual direct translation. We're just coming up to the end here, so I just want to give you the last shout out to say who you are, where you're at, and any final advice for the audience.
You can find the company at verbum.ai or OneMeta.ai, any of the two, but Verbum is spelled VERBUM.ai. And we're here to serve. We're here to make an impact as everyone is. We really believe in that by small things, great things will come to pass.
I appreciate you coming on. For anybody out there, please reach out. I will make sure all of the information is down in the comments below. Thank you for listening and stay weird.
Thank you, Cody. I'll stay weird.